All right, 17-10 is your final score as the Eagles fall to the Patriots. No points scored by either team in the fourth quarter after going up 10-0. The Eagles do not get it done. Patriots come from behind 17-10, your final score. Thanks for joining us on the postgame show. Amy Campbell, Fran Duffy, Ike Reese joining me as always to break it down. Guys, let's just start with some initial thoughts. This was kind of hard to watch for me, Ike. What was your initial thoughts?
I thought the game, played out exactly the way I figured it would. I knew this would be an ugly defensive type of performance. Neither one of these offenses are very explosive at this point. Eagles, due to their lack of personnel on the offensive side of the ball, not having Alshon Jeffrey and Jordan Howard certainly was going to limit some of the things they could do offensively. In New England, all year long, if you follow them, if they don't typically get turnovers in short fields, their offense isn't as explosive either. So the Eagles, with the one turnover today, able to hold them to 3. Other than that, you saw, other than that first drive out of the locker room at halftime, New England really struggled to move the ball today. I thought it would come down to a single possession in the fourth quarter, and it was going to be, can you make plays in crunch time against one of the best defenses in the league? And you got to give New England a lot of credit, man. They didn't give up the plays when it was time to. I love the way our defense kept us in the game throughout the day, really harassing Tom Brady, keeping everything in front of them, really giving this team a chance to stay in this game while the offense struggled to find their footing. I thought the defense they matched New England's defensive performance, in my opinion. We just couldn't pull it out in the end.
All right.
I think when you talk about complementary football, this game was a great example of that because, when the offense doesn't have its best day, you're missing Jordan Howard, you're missing Alshon Jeffrey, obviously Deshaun Jackson again. But I think when you look at, the offense coming into this game, they're undermanned. Defensively, they came to play. And what they did against Tom Brady in this offense, I think, is very commendable. They did a great job of highlighting that throughout the course of the broadcast. So for those at home that were watching the game, they got to kind of see that. But defensively, you got to give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, defense doing their job, giving their offense a chance to win the game at the end, going down the field. Can't ask for too much more than that from the Eagles defense against Tom Brady. Let's head back over to Lincoln Financial Field. Dave Spadaro standing by. Dave, you got to see this one up close, catch the vibes of everything. Give us some of your initial thoughts on this Eagles loss.
Yeah, I really like the way the Eagles came out offensively. They mixed it up. The 95-yard drive was absolute perfection. 16 plays, 9.5 minutes. And then Lane Johnson went out of the game, and the offense went nothing. No rhyme, no rhythm. Carson Wentz didn't play a good football game, didn't get help around him. The running game was not utilized. Miles Sanders in the passing game, at times I saw the Patriots really clamp down on Miles, not allow him to get out of the backfield. And then at other times when he was a bit of a leak, the ball went in another direction. But certainly a disappointing performance from an offense that I thought had some opportunities to put some points on the board. And again, a very disappointing last few minutes here. The Eagles had, 240-plus yards of offense. And if you take away the 95-yard drive and the 2 drives here at the end, what they have? 60, 70 yards of offense. I mean, it was just a very, very poor performance. Carson holding the ball too long, fumbling it, missing some wide receivers. Again, not getting the help from receivers as well. But the Eagles, look, you got to get used to this. Alshon Jeffrey, we don't know when he's coming back. Jordan Howard, we don't know when he's coming back. You've got to find a way to manufacture points, create good matchups, and the Eagles didn't do that today.
Yeah, Dave, you mentioned Carson and watching him in the pocket. I thought there was time for him to get rid of the football. Looked to me like he's waiting for guys to get open, really pressing to try to make something happen, kind of put the team behind the sticks a little bit early in the game. What'd you see from the ground level as far as open receivers or having guys available to him to be able to get the ball to?
Yeah, I mean, Ike, it's interesting. I remember the Carson Wentz as a rookie, those first 3 games, and then 2017, getting the ball out quick. So maybe he really trusted his receivers then. For whatever reason, he's waiting until players are open for the most part before he's throwing the ball. Now, certainly he's got a comfort level with Zach Ertz. Dallas Goedert had 3 drops, I think, today. But on the outside, Jordan Matthews, a non-factor today. Nelson Aguilar, had a couple of catches here and there, but nothing really. Mac Hollins, nothing. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside made the play on the scramble drill. That was nice to see, but I think you got to get back to throwing it on when you anticipate a receiver getting open, not waiting for him to get open and then throwing. It just seems like he's late on some balls. And yeah, I think he's holding the football at times too long. I remember seeing Carson get the ball out quicker. And I know in the TV broadcast today, they talked a little bit about that. His ability to extend plays is certainly a gift, but you also have to realize when it's not there and get the football out.
Dave, I want to bring it over to the defensive side because obviously the defense, what else can you say about what they were able to do against Tom Brady and Julian Edelman and the rest of that supporting cast there for New England? What was the energy like on the sideline for that group on the defensive side of the football? Because certainly made their share of plays today.
Yeah, they did, Fran, and I mean, that's wonderful, but did you really expect New England to come in here and light it up with an offense that is very middle of the road in the NFL with a running game that, I got to tell you, I think the Patriots put up something like 81 yards on the ground, and they were effective in the second half running the football. And so the adjustments that they made once they saw the Eagles bracketing Julian Edelman, like a great coaching staff, they made adjustments, and they hurt the Eagles on the ground. They hurt them with some quick releases from Tom Brady getting the football out. Yeah, the defense did a nice job today. However, when they have the chance in the fourth quarter and New England's down at their own, whatever it was, 3-yard line, get off the field. Win for the offense. Eagles didn't do it there.
Dave, real quick before we let you go, we heard about the wind all throughout the game today. The broadcast crew talking about it a lot. You're there. How is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of wind. It certainly didn't seem to affect the kicking game. The field goals were true. The extra points were good. There were a couple of times I thought the ball may have sailed on Carson. And I think Boston Scott, I got to say this, terrible judgment a couple of times here on punt returns. Late in the game, you don't catch the ball at the 5-yard line. Now, maybe he's under instruction to do that, but you've got to let the ball go into the end zone and give your offense a chance to have some breathing room. It didn't do that. So maybe the wind was a factor in that, but it wasn't really, Amy, as big a deal certainly as it was in Buffalo a few weeks ago.
All right, Dave, as always, thanks so much for your insight. We'll let you get to the locker room.
Thank you.
All right, so we heard about that wind an awful lot on the broadcast. So interesting to hear Dave say, hey, really didn't make too much of a difference here. Fran, let's get to some of your initial thoughts here, especially after hearing from Dave there on the sideline what he observed.
Yeah, I mean, I personally was pretty impressed with the defense.
Yeah.
Dave, I know wasn't that impressed. To me, I think
he's a tough one to impress.
He is. Well, we know that about Dave.
We balance each other out here in this dysfunctional family of ours.
I think when you look at what the defense was able to do, I mean, I know that the numbers haven't been great with Tom Brady in this passing game over the course of this game, and there were some occurrences. We said late in the game, we were sitting here in the studio, yeah, we wanted the defense to be able to get off the field and on that drive, right, late, and say, like, all right, you got them pinned back, get off the field quickly, get the offense the ball around midfield. But if you look over the course of this game, the field position for New England they had like 3 or 4 drives that started at right around midfield, and they were able to get stops when they needed to. If not, hold them to 3. How many times do we see them holding the 3 in the first half alone? I mean, that to me, those are things that keep you in the game. The Eagles are not able to come back and potentially tie this game up if the defense doesn't do that over the course of 3.5 quarters. So to me, I think defensively, I think there was a lot to take away from a positive standpoint in this matchup.
Yeah, I think so as well. And especially when you look at the red zone numbers for the Patriots, they were 1 of 3 in the red zone, 33%. That's not great. They settled for field goals several times, and it was really the Eagles defense. I mean, there was that one drive where they were on the Eagles 4-yard line, first and goal, and the Eagles were able to stop them on defense and have them settle for a field goal. So I think there's definitely some things to build on, a couple of nice pass breakups there as well. There's going to be some good film to dig into on that as well. Let's get into your takeaways, Ike.
Well, I'll piggyback off of that. I don't know what Spuds is talking about, Dave Spadaro. I mean, as a former defensive player, I mean, that was an A performance.
You're happy about that game?
Yes, that was an A
against
performance.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, that's an A performance in my opinion. The only reason it's not an A-plus performance, they had their hands on some balls. It could have been turnovers. Could have possibly given you some good field position or got the Patriots off the field where you didn't get any points. You certainly want that as a defensive player. But other than that, man, how many times did they come up big on third down, particularly in the fourth quarter where the Patriots are known for putting away football teams in the fourth quarter. That's what they do in clutch time. They salt away the clock, not giving you an opportunity to steal away a victory. And this defense in the fourth quarter, time and time again, gave this offense the football with an opportunity to go out, go down, and try to tie this ball game up, including their final drive where they were able to hold the Patriots. So I love what the Eagles defense was able to do. You can't take away everything when you're trying to stop an offense. They took away the run in the first half. Tom Brady was dinking and dunking. They made some adjustments. They ran the ball a little bit more in the second half after that first drive. But, man, I don't think I could have asked for anything more from this defense.
I mean, last time the Eagles took the field against Chicago, we talked about how it was such a great game plan to say you go into that matchup worried about Khalil Mack and Leonard Floyd and that Chicago pass rush. Look at the game plan the Eagles busted out offensively. Screen game, play action, moving the pocket. How often did we see the Patriots do that today? Because they were terrified of that defensive front. They were terrified of Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and Derek Barnett. Tony Romo talked about it a lot on the broadcast about how you could tell by the way that they're playing, they're worried about those matchups up front, and they were still able to get home and get a number of big hits on Tom Brady. Early on in that first half, he was antsy. He wanted to get that ball out as fast as possible. He was done taking hits from Barnett and the rest of that defensive line.
Well, and I thought we got to give a lot of credit to the secondary as well for holding up the way that they did in order to give that defensive line a chance to get home. And this was something I think that has kind of been a weakness of this defense, even going back to the Super Bowl season, that the secondary was giving up a lot of big plays. Today, that was not what we saw. No points scored in the fourth quarter by either team, but the secondary really holding up as well. And you mentioned the third down numbers, Ike. I thought this was kind of interesting. Patriots 5 of 16, so that's 31%, which is not great, but they had 16 third down chances in this one, and the defense still came up for them.
Yeah, the fact that you're able to get the Patriots to third down and able to get off the field, that you got to tip your cap there. I mean, they scored one touchdown today, and that was on a sort of a trick play.
Yep.
So the Patriots had to dig. They had to dig deep into their playbook to move the football against this team, and they were certainly in advantageous situations when you talk about field position pretty much the entire game. They started a lot of their drives, with only 60, 65 yards left to go, whereas the Eagles, I don't think they started a drive outside of the 28-yard line. Certainly was much more difficult on their offense to move the football. The Eagles defense put in some difficult situations at times, able to hold this Patriots offense to just field goals. I like what the defense was able to do. They're going to need to continue to do that because we don't know when these players will be back, and this offense may struggle to put up points throughout at least the next few weeks of the season.
Listen to Tom Brady's stat line. He completed 55% of his passes, 216 yards, 0 touchdowns, a rating of 67.3.
So he threw 47 passes. My guess is like 30 of them were screens.
Yeah.
I mean, that speaks to what their game plan was coming into the week, because if you're worried about a pass rush, you're trying to suck them up and trying to slow them down with the screen game. And when you throw play action into there, all those screens were off of play action. So you're giving that defensive line all kinds of things to think about, making sure that they slow up on their way to the quarterback. They did not want Tom Brady to have to drop back, 5-step drop, 7-step drop clean from under center against this defensive line. And to your point, Amy, I mean, the coverage held up really, really well. Not only did we see some pass breakups down the field, but we also saw a number of checkdowns from Tom Brady when they would not have wanted it. You saw some throwaways where he had to eat the throw when he would not have wanted to eat that throw. I think ultimately the coverage, that's one of the things I can't wait to go down and watch tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one to dig into. Obviously, takeaway number 1 gives us a long discussion, and we could probably keep going, but let's get to takeaway number 2.
And then I look at the offense, right? The offense, I thought, sputtered today, right? And I'm putting it kindly by saying they sputtered.
That's a good word.
They look good. The first couple of drives, you go down and get 3 points in that opening drive. I know it was aided by pass interference, but you're able to get 3 there. They put a touchdown up there early, really their longest drive of the game, ended with the Goddard touchdown. And after that, for basically the next quarter and a half, almost 2 quarters, the offense basically did nothing but punt the football or either turn it over with the fumble when Carson's holding on to the ball too long. This was going to be a day that you were going to need a balanced attack. Give the Patriots credit. They knew the Eagles wanted to come in and try to establish a run game. They were trying to make sure the Eagles couldn't run the ball today. No effectiveness out of the running game, whether it be the running backs not being able to find the right holes or the offensive linemen up front not creating the holes to really put you in down and distance situations where you can sort of use your bootlegs and your waggles and things of that nature where it's 3rd and 5 or less so that you don't make it as tough on you offensively trying to pick up first downs. Couldn't get anything going and really found themselves fortunate to be in a position to tie this game late in the fourth quarter because their offense really left a lot to be desired today.
2 guys they really missed in this game. Jordan Howard, for sure. Really missed his presence between the tackles downhill. And then Lane Johnson, losing him in the first quarter to the head injury. Those two, absences, those really, really affected, especially that run game.
Yeah, it seemed like you could, kind of draw that line of with Lane Johnson in and with Lane out, and everything kind of unraveled there on offense as soon as he went out. And then, 5 sacks on Carson Wentz. Obviously, not all of those on the right tackle, but having Lane there, it is that unit. How big of a loss was that for this team?
84 yards in the first quarter. 40 yards in the second and third quarter combined. Dave mentioned they had 255 yards total in the game, but they couldn't do much in the second and third quarter.
All right, Coach Doug Peterson about to take the podium to kind of sum up this loss. Let's hear what he has to say.
Doug, offensively, obviously after the long drive, I assume it didn't go as you projected. How did not having Jordan, Alshon affect you offensively?
It affects you, in a few ways. But I thought that really that long drive to score was obviously something positive. We had a nice little mix there, run and pass, and we stayed kind of positive, and ahead of the chains there on first and second down. Really, at that point, I felt like that we kind of found ourselves going backwards a little bit. And in games like this, too, the penalties, whether they're pre-snap or, during the play, obviously the turnovers, and then, just lack of production overall as an offense really kind of kept us, kind of stymied the rest of the game.
Doug, what was the mood like in the locker room, and what was your message to the team after the game?
The guys are disappointed. They're frustrated. They understand that we're a better football team than what we played tonight, and it's just we just have to. We as coaches, we got to coach better. Obviously, we understand that we got to play better. We didn't make enough plays. I thought the defense really kept us in this football game for the most part. And then offense, we would just fail to execute, and it's something that the guys really pride themselves on. We all do, and it just not enough plays there.
What was your assessment of Carson's performance, particularly on the drive where you got down there late in the game?
I thought overall, he really was into the game plan, into the game. Made some really good decisions. I think, where it kind of was hard for the offense was really, on first and second down. The success we've had leading up to this game was we were positive on first and second down, and we were in too many second longs and third longs today, and that's hard. It's hard for your quarterback and to put your quarterback in that position because you're going to have to throw the ball, and routes are a little bit deeper and things like that. But I thought overall, for the most part, played pretty well. Obviously we'll watch it tomorrow and make a better assessment of that.
Doug, I know you were shorthanded on offense, but it seemed like a lot of times the offense was in the huddle, not coming to the line until we're 10 seconds left on the play clock. There was no up tempo. Why do you think that was?
I just got to get the play in sooner.
Was it just confusion?
No, there's no confusion. I just got to get the play in sooner.
We know that Lane left with a head injury. Do you have any idea on the severity?
I don't know yet. I'll find out tonight, and then probably in the morning.
Did that change anything you had to do, particularly in your run game?
Change? What do you mean?
With Lane out, did that change anything you had to do?
No, it didn't change anything. No.
How do you think some of the younger receivers played?
I'll evaluate the film tomorrow and let you know.
Early in the fourth quarter, you had a 4th and 2 at your own 39. Did you consider going for it there, or was field position?
Field position, yeah.
How do you feel like the cornerbacks held up against, obviously, tough matchup with Tom Brady?
I thought they played well. Just a quick observation. I thought they played well. Obviously, they're a good football team, good passing team, and they did make some plays. But overall, I thought we held up well.
How do you think Jordan Matthews handled a pretty big role for just getting back?
Yeah, he did some good things. You'd like to really, again, going back until I see the film tomorrow, but he knew the offense. He knew the game plan. I didn't shy away from anything, play call wise.
Did they make any adjustments at the half in terms of their defense?
No.
It was still the same?
Pretty much the same defense throughout the whole game, yeah.
You spoke about the third and longs. Did you run the ball as much as you planned to, or as much as you wanted to?
I mean, you always like to maybe run it a few more times, And sometimes you get in a game like this, and when it's, again, you're either second and 10 or second and 11, maybe second and 9, it kind of, you're not staying ahead, you know what I mean? And that was kind of our struggle in the run game tonight, something we got to look at and fix before next week.
The decision not to use Ajayi, was it just too quick of a turnaround for him coming in on Friday?
Yeah.
How much did the injuries affect how you went about game planning this week, not knowing exactly about Alshon and Jordan? You bring in the bodies?
We still game plan the same, and we feel like that, with Zach and Dallas, we can do some things there, obviously, with our runners, Miles, and again, listen, give them credit. They did a nice job on defense, kind of taking those players away, and we knew that coming into this game, and we just didn't make enough plays. So from a game plan standpoint, we went about it the same way, and then used different formations. Tried to move some guys around to try to free up some of the routes.
How much do you feel like you missed Jordan and his inside running ability?
I mean, yeah, you always miss players, and he's one of them. Alshon's one. You'd love to have Deshaun out there and Sproles and all those guys too. But this is football, and you got to coach up the guys you got.
Did you get an explanation on the forced fumble by Malcolm Jenkins when they told you couldn't challenge?
Yeah, supposedly forward progress, whistle blown forward progress, so you can't challenge that.
Did you get another look at it, or did the guys up the booth tell you whether they thought that was?
Yeah, I mean it was obviously but it was a mute point at that time.
The Patriots' first drive in the second half, they come out and go no huddle and resort to some gimmickry to catch you off guard, or anything you could have done.
Yeah, I mean it was something that you anticipate. They're a good no huddle team, and just caught us in a situation where we were a little out of position on the double pass, and it was just well executed play by them.
Did you give any thought to going up tempo offensively?
Yeah, but again, you can go up tempo all you want if you're moving the ball, and I felt like in the second half we weren't doing that, so it was kind of hard to really kind of get any kind of rhythm going.
If you look at the offense big picture,
Excuse me?
If you look at the offense big picture, what makes you think it's going to be better? There's going to be more firepower as you go forward here.
Well, we've proven that. I mean, we've proven it when we have everybody healthy. When I mean everybody, I know we haven't had Deshaun the whole season, but when you have your guys out there with Alshon out there and Jordan out there, I mean, we've proven that. We've been able to execute and move. This is a good football team. It's a good defense coming in here. It's a great third down defense. Where we 3rd and 3 for 13 or something like that on third down. We knew that going into this football game. So, yeah, you'd love to have all your guys. But this is the National Football League, and the next man has to step up and make plays. And again, tonight we didn't do that.
Carson was sacked a lot, particularly in the first half. Did you feel that maybe he was holding the ball too long?
I think a couple times it might have been the case, but again with so much man-to-man coverage that and some of their cover 2 stuff that again we got to do a better job on the perimeter and execute a little bit better. Help them out.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay, that might be like the most upset I have seen Coach this season. What do you guys take from his vibe? I mean, they were in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough. We talked about it. It was a tough offensive performance. Yeah. So as an offensive coach, he's not going to be happy, and he's not going to be happy when he's going through the field. There's going to be a lot of missed opportunities that he's going to say, if we had made this play, if we had made that play, it's going to be one of those nights. It's going to be one of those mornings tomorrow morning.
Yeah, exactly what Fran said. As an offensive coach, I mean, obviously he's the head coach, but he takes pride in the amount of time and effort that they put into putting together a game plan offensively and thinking that things are going to work as long as the players go out there and execute the game plan. But then sometimes you got to tip your cap to the defense. And sometimes, they're going to get the best of whatever it is you're trying to do. And on any particular play, there can be multiple things that go wrong that doesn't allow you to be effective on that play. And so Doug right now is just looking at it from being on the sidelines, witnessing firsthand, his offense only puts up 10 points. He's not going to be very happy about that output. But the one thing that we know about Coach Peterson is that he has no problem going back to the drawing board, seeing where they didn't do things well at, making adjustments, and coming out with something different that's going to help this team sort of get things going. He has a tough job. When you don't have your personnel available to you, and that's my final takeaway from the game is the lack of personnel they had on the offensive side of the ball. It just makes it that much more difficult for you to be at your best when you got so many substitutes in there that aren't used to playing together. And it's not an excuse, it's just a reality of their current situation, is that when you have young players in there that haven't been put in a situation where they're going to be relied on as much as this group was relied on today, there's going to be some moments of ineffectiveness. And the quarterback wasn't very good today. You know, whether it's a lack of familiarity with the guys he's throwing the ball to or what have you, or he's trying to make plays when something may not be there, that can also be sort of a drawback when you have a guy as competitive as Carson is and with some of his ability. Sometimes he believes too much in his players and he's just trying to allow them to get open so that he can make something happen. But it's going to start there. It's going to start with how well he plays from that position, and those other guys have to do their part to make sure you can bring it all together. And today, they just weren't at their best today. And even with all that being said, they had a shot there at the end. He gave his guy an opportunity to make a play. You got to make the plays when they present themselves.
So I've been sitting here crunching some numbers.
Yes,
Yeah,
only you
my
guys
notes
could
here.
see. They are crunched.
Well, they're very crunched. One of the big things to me, I talked about a little bit earlier, was the starting field position in this game.
Yeah.
And I think when you talk about the defense and what they were able to do, this is a game football of hidden yardage. So often games are decided by not offensive yards, but by the yards that you don't necessarily see in the box score that catch up to you. And I think when you look at this, the Eagles had 10 of their 12 drives start inside their 25-yard line. 10 of 12 start inside 25-yard line. So when you play offense the way that the Eagles have to right now, which is matriculate the ball down the field, we saw that 95-yard touchdown drive that went into the second quarter, 9 minutes off the clock, longest touchdown drive the Patriots have given up in the regular season since 2011. All right, that's a great drive, but it's tough to do drive after drive after drive. The Eagles had to do that because of their starting field position. Then you go to the other side and you look at the Patriots. 6 of their 13 started inside the 25. So less than half started inside the 25. 4 of them started within 5 yards of midfield, and the Eagles held them to 2 field goals and 2 punts on those 4 drives. So I think really that when you look at field position, that was a huge, huge thing. That at a 7-point game, any of those drives turn it the other way.
Well, that's a great point because, like you said, those yards are not going to show up in the box score on the net yards. And look, you can say, hey, a 95-yard drive, that's great. But that also tells me that you're starting way too far away from the end zone, and if you have to go 95 yards to get all the way down there. Going back to the offensive personnel, I mean, I'm just going to kind of read some of this to you guys. The receivers today that caught passes, Zach Ertz, Nelson Aguilar, Dallas Goedert, second year in the league. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, rookie. Miles Sanders, rookie. Jordan Matthews wasn't here a week ago. Mac Hollins missed all of last season. So these were kind of the options. And again, nothing against these guys, but it's not Alshon, it's not DeSean Jackson, it's not Jordan Howard out there making plays. And so there's only so much you can do when you're limited in that kind of way.
Yeah, and you almost need to be perfect, right, when you're playing with backup guys. And I've been in that position where I had to go in and fill in for a starter as a backup. It's one thing when you're one of 11 players, but when there's 4, 5, 6 guys out there that just aren't used to being out there for 75, 80% of your snap counts, there are going to be mishits out there. There's going to be mistakes being made because there's reasons why we're backup players, right? You know, the more you're out there, and it's not a slight to these guys, it's just to let you know that there's a difference between having guys that are former Pro Bowlers, guys that are former All-Pro guys, and then having backup players coming there. There is a drop-off when you talk about talent and when you're talking about the ability of being playmakers, because what those other guys will do for you, the DeSean Jacksons, the Alshon Jeffries, the Jordan Howards, they have the ability to make something out of nothing. So when you have the backup guys out there. You almost need everything to be perfect. It's rare that those guys are going to go up and do things out of the framework of what their capability is that will allow them to do it. And today, you really needed Carson to be closer to being perfect so that those guys didn't have to be perfect. And I thought he was off today with some of his throws. And you can say it's lack of preparation time together, right? Having enough chemistry together out there, trying to force the issue or press it. Because as a quarterback, friend, you can speak to this. You get to a point where you get frustrated that you're punting the ball all the time. And you almost feel like, all right, we got to make something happen this time when we go out there. And you start to press a little bit. And the one thing about Carson, when he's pressing, his throws are high, you know, and it can get him in trouble at times. And I thought today, he obviously wanted to play well today and lead this team to victory, just wasn't able to come down with it. And you know what? It's something they can learn from. They'll have another week to get better for next week, and hopefully the offense continues to grow as we move forward.
And this is a team, too, this year that has been really, really good on third down. What were they, 3 of 13 today on third down? If you're Carson Wentz, you're expecting that success.
Speaking of, he is ready to take the stand right now. Here we go.
The offense can be its own worst enemy, kind of letting some plays out there. Do you feel like you guys left a lot of plays out there?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, we definitely did. I mean, the turnover I had, we can't be doing that. I got to be better than that. Left some plays out there, missed some throws. You know, that's a couple penalties. You know, that's football sometimes, but against a good team like that, we got to clean that up.
So you guys had the ball down there, you're driving late in the game, and you had it almost inside the 20. What happened on those four next plays?
Just missed a couple. You know, just miscues. You know, they made some plays too. You know, they made a couple plays, and hats off to them. They had a really good game plan, especially late there. But that's frustrating, especially the way we were able to move the ball, get down there, and then we kind of just were stagnant there at the end.
What was their game plan, especially on that last drive?
You know, they do a good job of kind of keeping it simple, but what they do is they do it really well, and you know, mixing up the man coverage and how they play their leverages and techniques, and you know, what they do with the safeties and all of that, and then they throw in cover 2 in there as well, and mix in some pressures, and they do a really good job. You know, they do a good job, but you know, I thought we were ready for it, we were prepared, we just didn't execute it well enough.
How did Lane Johnson's injury affect you guys? I mean, you know, you had that long drive in the second quarter, then you couldn't really get anything going after that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know the status of Lane or what's going on. You know, I'm going to be checking in on him, praying for him. But, you know, not to discredit Lane at all, because, I mean, shoot, he's probably the best right tackle in football. But we feel we have a really good depth at that position, and Big V able to step in, and, you know, a ton of confidence in him. So I don't think that was the deal breaker by any means.
Carson, on the last pass that you threw, did you think that was a touchdown?
Say that again?
On that last pass that you threw, did you think that was a touchdown?
The Hail Mary? Shoot, did it even get there? I don't think it even got to the goal line, so no, I didn't.
Yeah, no,
to Aguilar, I didn't get to really see it. You know, they brought cover 0, and just try to give them a chance, and we just missed it.
Carson, what do you think the reason was for the lack of execution offensively? I mean, why couldn't you guys get anything started?
Yeah, it's hard to say. You know, right now we'll go back and watch the tape, as you know, as we always say. But you know, like I said, they had a really good plan. You know, they always do. You know, that's a really good defense. So hats off to them. They did a great job taking away some things that we wanted to do. It's frustrating because we came out, you know, pretty hot. You know, we didn't convert that first drive, but got 3 points, and then went down and scored. And then that was it. You know, that was it for our offense. So you know, hats off to them. They played a great defensive game, but we got to be better.
On that last drive, the couple misses you had, were there any common theme in those?
Trying to remember. Yeah, those are, you know, there's 2 definitely to Ertz that, you know, I think we'd both want to have back, just not on the same page a little bit, and one I definitely missed. I got to be better in those situations. I got to be better and put it on him, give him a chance. You know, they made a couple of good plays on the other ones. So, yeah, like I said, it's frustrating to be right there and then, you know, fail to execute 4 straight times.
How much do you know Alshon and no Jordan Howard something you guys probably didn't find out until later in the week. How much does that affect the offense?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are great players. Those guys are great players, and they mean a lot to this offense. But kind of the same thing I said in regards to Lane Johnson with Big V stepping in. We have a lot of confidence in J-Matt being back here and stepping in, and JJ getting more reps, and and Miles and Boston stepping up. So had a lot of confidence in those guys. I thought they did well today. I'll have to again see the tape, but I don't think that was the difference maker either.
Carson, sometimes when you guys struggle offensively, tempo helps. Doesn't seem like you went that way today. Was that because some of the newer guys in there, maybe that wasn't as easy to do?
I think it was, maybe part of it. I think, also just what the Patriots do and how they played defensively. We thought we could, scheme it better, getting in the huddle and everything. And that just wasn't a huge part of our game plan today.
Carson, some of these questions about lack of offensive firepower are not new questions, obviously. What makes you think it's going to be different or it's going to be better during these final 6 games or so?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I get to see all these guys at practice, and I think, everyone in here and the public doesn't get to see that. And so I have a lot of confidence in the guys that when their number is called that they're going to make plays. And obviously we haven't necessarily put it on the film, put it on the field. I know I definitely want a couple of them back today. But like I said, I get to see these guys at practice. I get to work with them, and I have a ton of confidence that it will be there and we'll get it going.
You were sacked a handful of times in the first half. How did you view why those occurred?
I got to get rid of the ball. They had some good coverages and stuff, but I got to get rid of the ball and be better with that.
Of course, we really wanted to stay in the huddle and scheme things. It just seemed a lot of times you're coming out of the huddle with 10 seconds left on the play clock. I mean, is that really an optimum amount of time to kind of diagnose what the defense is showing you?
We'd all say we'd love to get out of the huddle with 20 seconds left, and that that's always would be ideal, but that's just not the way the game goes. Sometimes there's always a lot of things, a lot of moving pieces, personnel, getting lined up, all that stuff. So without a doubt, that's something that we want to be better at. But with the ebbs and flows of the game, that tends to happen sometimes.
Starting inside the 15 and 10 the whole game, how was that knowing that so many long fields to go?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough to go 95 or whatever. We were able to do it the second drive, and I thought that was really big for us and gave us some confidence there. But like I said, we just stalled out too many times. And again, the Patriots, they did a great job defensively, special teams wise, and we just didn't get it done today.
What adjustments did they make in the second half? They really seemed to shut you down extraordinarily.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say I'll have to watch the tape, but I don't think they did anything kind of crazy. We just kind of didn't make our plays, and like I said earlier, it starts with me. I got to be better. I got to distribute the ball better, get rid of it. We got to be able to stay ahead of the chains and all those things. But like I said, it starts with me, and we'll get it fixed.
The defense obviously had a very good game. What was the interplay like between when they would come off the field after 3 and out?
The defense played great. Hats off to our defense playing the way they did today. We didn't make it easy on them offensively a handful of times, but they played great. So that's always that much more frustrating for us as an offense to know our defense played the way they did, and we didn't help them out or get it done.
You speak to us often about third downs. You were 3 of 13 tonight. I know that's a good third down defense, but what needs to be better there on third downs?
Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, that's not something that we. Something that we definitely pride ourselves on is third downs, and we didn't do it well today. Plain and simple. They outplayed us on that down. I got fooled a couple times. I got to be better. Like I said, it starts with me, but that's something that we got to take a hard look at and get fixed.
What was working, on that long drive between the first and the second quarters, and then why couldn't you guys sustain it after that?
Yeah. I wish I knew the answer to that. Those first 2 drives, we had the big penalty and everything. And the second drive, we were just able to mix it up really well, and with the run game, the screens, and just converting, on third downs. And it seemed after that we kind of just didn't execute to the level that we expect to and that we need to against a good team like that.
You've had a lot of those long drives this year, but absent chunk plays, how hard is it to sort of sustain having to have those long drives in order to score?
Yeah. You kind of hit it on the head. It is tough, especially against a good defense, and being able to take chunk plays and get explosive plays. We got to keep being creative and find ways to do that. But at the same time, it seems to be our recipe is to grind it out. Ball control, run, throw. Just move the pocket, those sorts of things. And when you make a couple mistakes like we did today, like the fumble I had, and those types of things, it makes it tough for us. Thank you, guys.
Okay, there's Carson Wentz looking nice in that jacket, though, I have to say, guys. I always love to see his fashion choices, and this was for the salute to service, perhaps. Let's go to the turning point of the game for each of you. Who wants to go first? You.
All right, I'll go. So obviously, like you mentioned earlier, the touchdown pass that they did score in this game, New England, was that double pass, right? So they threw it down to Julian Edelman in the flat, and then he threw it to Philip Dorsett in the end zone for a score. That was their only touchdown of the game. To me, the turning point is the first play of that drive. And I mentioned all those drives that the Patriots had where they started near midfield or outside their own 25. This one started from their own 16. So the Eagles actually had good field position on this drive defensively. First play, they ran a play-action screen, little dump off to Rex Burkhead, and a missed tackle in the flat by Nate Gary resulted in a 31-yard pickup. That X play really got the momentum going, allowed them to get in position to then score that touchdown. So if you want to say, okay, what's one play that kind of helped turn the tide, that would be one play for me where I'd say, you know what, that's one that the defense would really like to have back.
And I'll go back to the Eagles' last opportunity to really tie this ball game up, and despite all the missed throws that happened on that drive, I thought the turning point was the drop ball at the end of the game. Yeah. I mean, let's face it, there's an opportunity where you overcome a lot of different adversities to put yourself in position. It's fourth down. Quarterback gives you an opportunity to make a play. Got to make the play.
Yeah, I think if I have to pick something, I'm going to say Lane Johnson leaving the game, but it didn't really feel like anything turned in this game. It kind of felt like this linear climb to me, but I guess, Lane Johnson, if you look at the numbers before and after, that's going to be it for me. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Yeah. All right, Coach Doug Peterson went one-on-one with Mike Quick a little bit earlier tonight. Let's take a listen to what Coach had to say.
Coach, when your defense play as well as they played tonight, giving up just one touchdown to Tom Brady, how difficult is that to deal with, that you don't come out of this with a win?
It's frustrating, and I think that's what the team felt after the game. Defensively, I mean, my hat's off to our defense. They really played a great game, especially against, obviously a great quarterback, and to hold them to the one touchdown. And our offense just has to do a little bit more. And I know we have some injuries, but we never want to use that as an excuse.
Right.
The next guy has to step up and play, and I think it was really tonight was probably an eye-opener for some of those young players a little bit offensively, and we'll be better moving forward. They'll be better, the next time they get an opportunity.
Speaking of the offense, talk a little bit about your quarterback play tonight.
Yeah, I think he made some good plays. I think again, they mixed really man coverage with cover two, and they kind of went back and forth with that, and so we were in and out that way a little bit. And then the success we've had in previous games, it was because we were sort of ahead of the chains on first down. We were in 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6s, and 2nd and 4s, and we were able to execute. And then it really helps your quarterback out, because in the play action pass game, starts taking over your ability to run the football, and all that stuff helps your quarterback. And tonight we were in too many long yardage situations that really forced him to hold the ball just a little bit, wait for receivers to come open, and it makes it tough. But I thought overall he played tough, he played good, he was sharp mentally. He'll be better moving forward.
A lot of man coverage in that first half. They made some adjustments in the second half, so a lot more zone, I thought, in the second half. How did that affect the execution?
Yeah, because then what it does is it just allows that pass rush just to kind of get your quarterback, and again, if they're going to play zone and play some nickel to our 12 personnel, we should have a good matchup to run the ball in those situations. And then we just didn't execute there, and Lane went out, and he's obviously a dominant force up for our offensive line. But Big V's played, and he's played well, for us. And then Dillard came in for a little bit, but overall we gotta do a better job of from a coaching standpoint, preparing our players, and then obviously execution.
One last thing, there was a lot of talk about running the football going into this game. The last two teams that played the Patriots ran the ball successfully. You threw the ball twice as many times as you ran the ball. What did you see that led to passing the ball that much?
Yeah, I think that sometimes you get caught and you're first down. And we had a couple of pre-snap penalties tonight. We had some lost yardage situations, and it just makes it hard because you want to be able to not necessarily run the ball to control the clock, but you run the ball to help set up other things as well, and then use your passing game off of that, and really that kind of opens up your offense a little bit more. And we just had, again, too many long yards, second longs and third longs that really there's not many runs that are going to get you 10 yards, in this league. And so, we just got to do a better job on first down.
Doesn't get any easier next week. You got Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, we knew this stretch, when you look at the schedule, it's a great football team coming in here. Obviously, they're coming off a bye, so they'll be rested. We just got to come to work this week and get ready for another challenge.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Quick.
Yep.
All right, and Coach, kind of touching on what was my key to the game coming into this one, guys, looking for that balance on offense. Did we see, as Mike Quick pointed out to Coach, they passed it twice as much as they ran it. Is the lack of balance because they ended up in second and long, third and long? Is that why you have to go to the passing game in that situation?
Yeah, I think so. No coach likes to give away downs, right? Yep. So if you're not having success on those early downs, running the football, then a coach is going to more than likely want to put the ball in his quarterback's hands and see if they can find a way to move the ball there. The difference over the last two games versus this game is they had success running the ball on first and second down, and you can sort of have third and manageable situations. Doug mentioned it, just far too many second and long, third and long type of situations where we just didn't run the ball effectively. I don't want to put it all on the fact that Lane wasn't in there, but obviously not having him available certainly had an impact.
And the other part of that, too, is the fact that, look in the fourth quarter, they're trying to come back. You had that 2-minute drive at the end of the game. What was that? I mean, that's 11 passes right there. That's going to kind of swing the pendulum the other way. It skews a little bit.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Fran, you're going to be breaking down a play for us in the Rico Review. Stay with us. Hey, thanks for joining us on the post-game show presented by Rico. The Eagles' lone touchdown today coming on a Dallas Goedert reception from Carson Wentz. Dallas Goedert getting the touchdown to put the Eagles up 10-0 on the Patriots. That is the subject of today's Rico Review. Fran Duffy is going to break it down for us. Take it away, Fran.
So the Eagles march down the field. Now they are knocking on the door, about to score a touchdown, and they are able to punch it into the end zone on this touchdown from Carson Wentz to Dallas Goedert. And it comes on a staple route concept that we've seen from the Eagles going back over the last few years, ever since Doug Peterson arrived here in Philadelphia. What you're going to see here is that the Patriots, they're going to try and worry about Zach Ertz. And you know coming into this game that was going to be a priority for them on defense. On money downs, they were going to put their eyes on him and try and double team him, take him away from the progression. So the Eagles, they smartly put him over to one side, and Carson Wentz, he's going to start over to the left because he knows that extra attention is going to be paid to number 86, to this guy right here. So what you're going to get here from the Eagles is a staple route concept. Like I said, it's a 3-man route, and what you're going to see is Nelson Agholor work inside, try and clear out, take this defender out of the picture, remove him from the action. Then you're going to have Miles Sanders. He's going to work up and get to the flat, again, to try and widen this defensive back, take him out of the picture. That isolates Dallas Goedert one-on-one with this defensive back. Again, with one receiver here and one receiver out here, that's a whole lot of space for Goedert to try and win one-on-one against a DB. So we're going to take the snap here and let it roll and show you exactly what they're getting. They confirm man coverage here with this little mini motion from Zach Ertz. Right off the ball, yeah, Dallas Goedert's going to fight through contact here from the rookie Chase Winovich, but you can see how this is starting to develop here. Nelson's getting ready to run the little shallow cross. Here comes the rookie Sanders. He's running to the flat. Again, just trying to widen out that void right in the middle of the field here for Carson Wentz, make the picture nice and clear for him, and we can let this roll. Right as soon as he hits his back foot, he's got his eyes on Goedert. He wins right in front of the safety and crosses the plane for a touchdown. Great pitch and catch, 95-yard touchdown drive. That was the longest touchdown drive that the Patriots have given up in over 8 years. So an awesome job by the Eagles matriculating the ball down the field, punching it in, and taking a 10-0 lead.
Gotta love that toughness there from the Eagles tight end, making it happen, getting into the end zone. We are going to take a quick break. On the other side, the nominees for the Toyota Player of the Week. Don't miss your chance to win a free Toyota. And we'll be looking ahead to the Eagles' next opponent, the Seattle Seahawks. It's going to be another tough one here in South Philadelphia. Stay with us. And now is your chance to vote for the Toyota Player of the Week. Go to PhiladelphiaEagles.com/Toyota Player of the Week to cast your vote and get a chance at a brand new Toyota. And this week's nominees, it's going to be Zach Ertz, Kamu Grugier-Hill, and Jalen Mills there for the Eagles. Very exciting. And hey, it's salute to service game for the Eagles earlier today. Sergeant First Class Philip A. Laws Sr. served 30 years as a combat engineer. He received a free brand new Toyota. Very exciting. We thank him for his service. Well deserved there. Sergeant Philip A. Laws Sr. 30 years as a combat engineer. We thank him for his service. Very exciting stuff there. All right, the nominees, Zach Ertz, Kamu Grugier-Hill, Jalen Mills. Who stands out to you?
I would have to go with someone on the defensive side of the ball,
Yeah.
so I would have to go with Jalen Mills. I thought he and his defensive back mates did a very good job today trying to cover up these wide receivers. Tom Brady, you don't necessarily rattle Tom Brady to where this defense rattled Tom Brady today. He didn't have anybody to throw the ball to. I can't even keep up with how many throwaways he had today, and that's primarily because that secondary did a good job. So for me, I let Jalen Mills represent the secondary. They did a great job today.
I'm totally with you. A lot of good work there by that entire secondary. And of course, there's going to be some things that don't show up on the stat sheet as well. I'm with you on Jalen Mills. All right, let's look ahead to the Eagles' next opponent. They face the Patriots coming off a bye, and then they're going to face the Seattle Seahawks, who will also be coming off a bye. That doesn't seem very fair to me, but hey, look, there are no excuses here. It's going to be a 1 p.m. kickoff. Of course, we will be here to break it all down in the pregame, the postgame, whatever. What do you see from the Seattle Seahawks? Russell Wilson, MVP?
Yeah, he certainly would be at 1 or 2 between he and Lamar Jackson, based on what they've done to this point in the year. And I think Russell Wilson is easily in my opinion, MVP or not, top 2 or 3 quarterback in this league. He's got that team on his back. They believe in him. He typically finds a way to win. It's not always the prettiest, but Russell Wilson is just a winner, has been that way since his days in college, has carried that over to the NFL. I'm happy the game is here. They're going to have to travel here. I'm also happy the game was moved up to 1.
Yes.
That could be an advantage, having them on a West Coast team playing at basically 10 o'clock back in Pacific Coast time. But Russell Wilson also is dangerous because he extends plays. And your defense can have the perfect coverage. Your defensive lineman can do a great job of pass rushing. And this guy's like Harry Houdini can find a way to make a play. So, a lot of scramble drills the defense is going to have to do this week. We had a benefit today. That 42-year-old guy's going to stay in the pocket.
He's not going to move the same type of way that Russell Wilson would.
Yeah, Russell Wilson poses a different sort of a threat to any defense, and they're going to have their work cut out for him. Unfortunately, going up against Russell Wilson, I think he's 3-0. Or either 4-0 against the Eagles in his career. So hopefully next week we can break that and get a big win. I'll tell you, Amy, I know this loss hurts today, but in my opinion, with these 2 teams, it was going to be difficult to sweep them. We're certainly looking for a sweep, and if a sweep is all we can settle for, I would rather have that victory come against an NFC opponent
100%.
rather than an AFC opponent. So good opportunity to get back on the horse next week and take care of your business at home against a very good Seattle Seahawks team. Well rested, too.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that matchup. Seattle's one of my favorite teams to
watch. I like
watch.
watching them play, too.
Russell Wilson is one of the most entertaining guys to watch. I can't wait to see how the Eagles prepare for this team, how they match up against this team. I think it's going to be a really fun one. I am so pumped for that. And, of course, we will be right back here 30 minutes before kickoff, 12:30 next Sunday, to break it all down in the kickoff show presented by Exalta. And, as always, we will be dissecting every angle of this thing as soon as the game is over. We will be right back here next week. Have a great week, everybody. We will see you next week.